Hi, I'm Jerry Ordway. You're watching Protagonistas. Del Comment.
Buenas noches, gente. Buenas noches, Mario. ¿Cómo estás?
Muy buenas noches, Kyle. Bienvenidos a todos a Protagonistas del cómic número 32, ¿no, mi amigo?
Increíble. 32 protagonistas del cómic. Después de esta entrevista que tuvimos con Dan Didio, que la pueden ver acá arriba, la voy a dejar si no la vieron. Está espectacular. Tenemos el honor hoy de poder hablar con alguien muy especial, que es un amigo mío, que le tengo mucho afecto,
Uh-huh.
por varias cosas que hizo por mí, y lo voy a presentar. I'm gonna introduce to our guest now. He was editor at DC, editor at Dynamite, and he's the current president of the Cure School. He is none other than Anthony Marquez.
I was going to try to match that lovely photo that you chose of me. How you guys doing? Thanks so much for having me on tonight. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Anthony.
So fast. Thank you. Thank you so much.
It's a real pleasure to have you here, especially, as I said in Spanish. I have a great affection for all you've done for me.
Oh, stop it. Come on. That was a wonderful time when you came up to New York, and I was able to bring you into the DC library back when we had the wonderful librarian, Steve, that worked in there. And
Steve Corti.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and we were able to break out the Action Comics #1, and you were able to hold it and take a cool picture. It was pretty wild.
Do you remember that day that Steve Corti mentioned that they found a box with lost comic books from the Spider-Man and Superman crossover, and
yes.
he picked up like 10 copies.
Yes,
10 copies. 10
mint
copies. Mint copies.
He literally had a box of them. He literally had a box of them that he would just say, "Oh, hey, if you guys want one, take one. Don't worry about it." Nobody.
Oh my God!
This one.
Look at that.
This one. I got it here.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
I mean, they were beautiful. They were absolutely perfect, mint condition.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I know.
The best thing is
I have
what
this.
Anthony says. The best thing is what Anthony says. Steve Curtis, I don't know. I'm gonna give it away because we found them.
That was a really wild library. It was really cool. You'd go in there, and they actually had the busts of. They had Brandon Routh. They had a George.
Yeah, I remember
correctly. They had a Chris O'Donnell, but the one that was really cool that I really loved that nobody ever talks about was they actually had Nicolas Cage's bust from when he was going to be Superman, and they had of his face, and that was wild. And there was actually one that was going around the office that was of his foam head. It was like I don't know what they used it for, but it was a foam version of Nicolas Cage's head that was in one of the offices that one of the editors had. No names mentioned, but I remember it being in there, and it was really cool. It was a lot of fun, and I mean they had Mr. Freeze's gun from Batman and Robin, and so
the prop, the real prop,
the real prop, yeah, that was on display.
Oh my God!
And but you could hold it, if you went in there, you could actually pick it up. They had I believe it was Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman whip from Batman Returns as well. But I mean, on top of it, I mean, the thing that, I love more even than the movies is the comics, so when I got to go in there and see Action Comics #1, Detective 27, they were all in there. You remember they just open up this beautiful flat file and everything's in there. It's like the best magic trick you've ever seen, because everything that you dreamed of seeing and wanting as a kid was all there, but now you're an adult and you get to enjoy it.
And
So,
what was the most strange thing that you that blow your mind when you were in the archives? What did you find and said, "Oh my God, this is amazing"?
I think just, growing up, I was a huge Superman fan in general.
Yeah.
So just to be doing what I've been so blessed to be able to do has been incredible every single day. It's very easy to get, kind of caught up in the work of it all. But I also make a point of always reminding myself that, hey, you're living the dream. You're doing what we all want to do. This is something that we really enjoy, and I love it. I love it every ounce of my being. I love comics, so it was just a joy every single day, and it still is.
Can you tell us about your beginnings as a comic book fan? How did you start? What were your first comics, if you remember?
Oh, I remember my first comics was well, all right. So what really got me into comics was Superman the movie with Christopher Reeve. I remember watching that a bunch as a little kid. We had a VHS tape that I would just watch over and over again. And Superman the movie was on there. Stand By Me, if you guys remember that movie. If you haven't seen it, that's a beautiful movie. Highly recommend.
Yes.
And then the third film that was on it, which makes no sense. It doesn't tie into any of it, but I guess it does in a weird way, was the Lou Ferrigno Hercules movie. That was all on there. But it was
do you remember that?
Yeah. I watched all three of those. I mean, talk about the furthest corners of where you could go with film. But, all three of them were really interesting. But it was a great time to grow up. I was born in 84, so those late 80s, early 90s were really interesting because you had, Superman was still popular in terms of, the films weren't that old yet. They were old, but they weren't that old. Then you had Batman in 89.
Batman the movie, of course.
So, that was huge. I remember my mom and dad, they brought us to the movie theater to go see Batman 1989. And I'll never forget when you walked into the movie theater, the doorway, when you walked in, I'll never forget it. They took aluminum foil and they made it look like, the stalagmites or whatever they're called from inside the cave. They made it look like the walls of the cave and they painted it black a little bit. And as a kid, that was just mind blowing. And then I'd go to the local video store and there was a comic shop that had opened, but we were still going to this video store. And they had all the comic books, and the comic books that they had in particular were the Death of Superman books and Batman versus Predator. And those were just mind-blowing to me. I was like, what is going on? This is crazy. And then I remember going to the local food town, and I would buy The Adventures of Superman, and that issue in particular had Mixes Pitalik in it. And then I remember picking up my first two comics I ever bought at a comic shop. Yeah, there it is. There they are. There's the Mixes Pitalik one. That's the Superman number 20, I think it was. And X-Men. That was one of the first issues I ever got, which is wild to think about. And that issue of X-Men is just wild. I know Paul Smith does some artwork in there, and I believe John Romita Jr. does as well. And that is a gorgeous issue, let me tell you. So those were some of my first comic books I ever picked up and actually bought.
And you got very lucky because it was the first time that Superman killed, and the other one is one of the first. I think it's one of the first cameo appearance of Doomsday with the
and that Adventures of Superman issue. He starts showing up in that one, and in that X-Men issue, it was, I think, something with Phoenix I remember going on. And I remember at one point, it's funny, the Avengers, or the X-Men call the Avengers in the issue. And the X-Men are like, look, the Phoenix is killing everybody right now. Don't answer your door. And it's literally like, they're like, oh, somebody's knocking at the door. And the X-Men are like, don't answer the door. It's Phoenix. And Captain America's like, don't worry about it. And then literally they're all killed by the Phoenix. But it was, I don't know, as a little kid, you read these things, and it's kind of even more interesting as a kid to kind of walk into the middle of something. You know, for example, with that Superman issue where he goes and, you know, he kills people for the first time.
Yeah.
I didn't, you know, there was no connection to the story of what was going on. It was just, there's a beautiful opening splash page that John Byrne draws of Superman on this planet, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Then all of a sudden you have, you know, the three Kryptonian villains fighting Superman and this other version of Lex Luthor who like dies within the first like 6 pages or something. Supergirl isn't really Supergirl. She was, I believe, what Matrix at that point in time, I think it was.
Yeah.
And it was just a fascinating book. And then he brings Matrix back home at the very end of that issue. Yeah, it's all coming back to me. Sorry, guys. I'm getting a little bit nostalgic. But yeah, just, I love all those issues. I could talk too much about them. I apologize.
You know, about you told us about the death of Superman and the 30th anniversary. And a few months ago on Kyle's channel, we did all the run of the death of Superman, death and return of Superman, of course. And still love that story. It's amazing.
It's amazing. It's amazing what they did with Superman. How they revitalized the character, and how especially put him again on top of the sales, because it was something that it was unthinkable at the time, and with something that so simple like we're gonna kill him. But I don't ask me why, because it's something that I think it's more of that era, of those years. We were naive with comics, and we thought that Superman was going to stay there.
You know, it's funny. I remember, I mean, those comics, those creative teams, everything was so incredible at that point. You know, everything had such weight to it. But even those comics at that point in time, the Superman run was so fascinating. You know, I mean, and I came into it in you know, in the early 90s, really. I started picking up the books, and then like really like that 92, and the death of Superman was, you know, really full steam into it. But I mean, if you look back even before that, like when Byrne took over and started over the Man of Steel run, you know, those 4 issues, I think it was. I remember my mom bringing me to a baseball card store because they had the comic books there, and I wanted all those. Then they had the big reveal issue where Superman reveals, you know, Clark reveals that he's Superman to Lois. Yeah, and I remember I needed that issue. I had to have that as a kid. And then, you know, then you get into the death of Superman with all of that as well. And wow. I mean, that was incredible. And then you had the reign of the Supermen. You had the 4 different people, and then who are you rooting for? Who did you want to be Superman? Were any of them really Superman or not? Nobody really knew the answer to it. And then the big reveal with Cyborg Superman being evil. It was awesome, man. But I remember even going home and showing my dad, being like, look, they killed Superman, you know, this and that. And I was just a little kid. And he's like, no. He's like, Superman's not dead. They'll bring him back. And he was right. You know, he knew. He was smart. He knew right then.
Yeah, but that news shocked all around the world because it was worldwide. The death of Superman on pages on all newspapers around the world. It was fascinating.
I would love to see an artist edition of the death of Superman, even if it was just issue 75. You know, the death of Superman issue. Just give me a black and white, raw, scanned version of that. I would love to see that as something that we could purchase. You know.
You know what?
But this isn't doing the artisan edition. I think Marvel began a couple of months ago with Silver Surfer. I think I saw a Silver Surfer one. Yeah, it's gorgeous. Buscema's art.
That is the one I've seen. Yeah. You're correct. I love all
Anthony, stuff. Here in Argentina, they published an editorial called Perfil. In those days, they published all the stuff of Superman's the death of Superman, and the inside the pages, inside the book, many famous people here in Argentina, journalists, artists, people from the media, write about Superman. It's an amazing issue that. So it was very shocking, the death of Superman.
Yeah, for sure. But it was great storytelling. They did a great job, and I have to say I'm really looking forward to the 30th anniversary issue that's coming out. I can't wait to pick that up. I was talking with you guys about this before, but one of the great things about when I got into the industry was, and especially in editorial, was I was able to meet a lot of my heroes growing up. So I was able to meet Dan Jurgens and talk with Tom Grum. And actually, I did a panel with Tom once. That was incredible. And,
amazing.
But these were all people that I really admired growing up. And then when you meet them and they're really good people on top of it, that's what makes it even more special. So, I mean, I'm so excited for them to all be working on that 30th anniversary issue. And I can't wait to pick it up and throw some support behind it.
Anthony, and now that you spoke about your beginnings in meeting your heroes in working as in the editorial, how do you began this this thing of I want to draw comics, I want to study art, I want to go to the Cuber school?
So when I was a little kid, I always loved drawing. I always loved making comic books. My brother and I would hang around and we would start drawing the comics and everything like that and come up with our own stories or different villains. We always wanted to have something bigger than what came before, which is kind of something that goes on in comics all the time anyway. And I remember I came across an ad for the Kubert School. And I remember bringing it up to my dad. And we lived in a town called Toms River. And we had schools in the area that were called East Dover, North Dover, I think West Dover. And so we had Dover over there. And I was like, Dad, the Cuber School is located in Dover, New Jersey. I would love to go here. It's right here. And he said, no, that one's about 2 hours away from here. So you're going to have to hold up on that. But I loved drawing and I loved comic books and I loved drawing those characters. So even as I got older and I was in high school, that's what I wanted to do. But I was really apprehensive as I got closer to going off to college about what did I really want to do? Did I really want to do that? Was I comfortable with the idea of people basically telling me what to draw? And I wasn't sure if that was really what I wanted to do. But after some soul searching and discussions, I thought that, yeah, you know what? I want to make a go at it. And my girlfriend at the time, my wife now, Jackie, said, you got to go for it. You know, if you really believe in it and this is what you want to do, then you got to go for it. And so I worked like crazy and I wound up going to the school. And I got to tell you, it was one of the best decisions of my life. Everything that's good that has happened in this field has happened because I went to that school. I was very fortunate to be able to learn with really wonderful instructors. And then in my third year, learn from Joe. And Joe was a great guy. I was very fortunate to learn from him. And after that, I graduated. I started working, I believe it was one week later or the same week after I graduated. I was doing Marvel superhero coloring books, which was really fun. And then I was doing Disney princesses, all sorts of stuff. And then I wound up coming over to the school and working as a convention coordinator for them. And I was working at Telegraphics, which produced the preventive maintenance monthly books for the U.S. Army, which were started by Will Eisner. And Joe Kubert was doing them at that point. So I would draw the backgrounds with other school alumni, and we would just work on that. And we'd also go up and talk with Joe. So you'd have like a master class learning from Joe, and it was absolutely incredible. And it was a great experience. Long story, then eventually DC was looking for an assistant editor to come over and work, and Andy recommended that I apply to it, and I did, and I got my foot in the door over at DC.
Anthony, and do you have any funny anecdote with Joe?
Sure.
When you were studying with him, I don't know, presenting your portfolios and your work within any funny story you can tell us?
Sure, I'll tell you. Know, I think it's funny. You guys might not think it's funny, but I think it's funny. Joe was a really nice guy. They're all really nice people. Adam was really great. Andy is, I consider to be one of my best friends. I think he's a wonderful person. And Joe was just a really nice man. He was always available for any of the students to be able to go over and speak with and to learn. And so when I was at the school, while I was doing all the other stuff and working and whatever else I could do, I also took on the position as a security guard at the school. And the reason why I was a security guard at the school was so this way I could talk with Adam, I could talk with Andy, I could talk with Joe, I could talk with Fernando, I could talk to everyone. I had access to talk to everybody more than anyone because I was there until 6 o'clock every day. And so I would go in and I would talk with Joe every day. I'd bother that poor man to go over my work and to take a look at my layouts and tell me what I was doing right and wrong. Now, Joe, like I said, always was available. But one day he said, Anthony, I can't look at your stuff right now. And this was on a Saturday. The school's open on Saturdays as well. We have kids classes. He goes, come back tomorrow. Come back on a Sunday. I'll be here and I'll take a look at your work. I said, sure thing, Joe. I'll be back. So where the school's located, right across the street from us, is a very tiny church. And this church is packed on Sundays. It gets packed. So I come to the school. I'm in the front yard of the school, and the doors are all locked, and I can't get in. But I see that Joe's light is on, and I'm trying to get his attention. So now I'm standing in the front of the school, and I'm throwing rocks at his window just as the church lets out. So everybody's coming out from the church, and they're watching me. Everybody's like stopping and watching me, just standing in the front of the school, throwing rocks at the window. Joe couldn't hear me hitting the pebbles against the window. Eventually, I just started pegging them at the air conditioner. And he popped his head out, and he said, oh, hey, yeah, I'll let you right in. I went in, and, he took a look at the work, and, it was great. But like I said, it's more of a funny or a special story to me, than maybe you guys find it to be humorous. But, yeah, like I said, Joe was always available to help out, to give he was a great sounding board and just an incredible artist and teacher. So I really enjoyed it. Great memories.
Was he hard giving you the corrections to your work or the right directions?
Joe was really nice about it. But the thing was, too, is the beautiful thing about even being at the school is you're taught how to conduct yourself as a professional. You're not going to waste the instructor's time. You're not going to make a fool of yourself. So when you're in there, and by the time you get to Joe, or really even in first year, we instill this in the students back then and now, is that conduct yourself as a pro. Come into your class, have your materials ready, be ready to get the critique, and be ready to work as well. So we came in, we sat down, we would go over everything with him, get advice. He would throw a piece of tracing paper over the work and just do the drawing corrections for us, show us how to make the drawing better, but explain why. It's one thing if someone's just drawing and they're not telling you what's really wrong, but all the instructors at the school then and now really have a wonderful way of explaining how to make your work better, showing you how to do it better. And that's what Joe did. So like all the other instructors, because they learned from him too, and it was really incredible.
So he encouraged all of you to do your best.
Oh, of course.
Every time, right?
Yeah, I mean, everybody does. If you're coming to the school, you have to remember comics are really like a mentorship-based field. When you come in, usually it's through somebody else, and you meet people and they help you out. People that are in comics, they want to help each other. We're all trying to get into this. And it's something. It's a beautiful community. It's a great community of people, and we all want to help each other. That's the whole point. We want to see that next group of artists coming in and getting the big jobs. That's special. And to be able to help out in any way just makes you feel great. That's a beautiful feeling to have.
Mm-hmm. And also you, the teachers, learn about them, because it's vice versa. You teach them, but you also learn about their techniques, or everything you watch, because you always watch all their work.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you said, oh, look at that, this is an amazing idea. So you can talk with
being around the students is really energizing. You get to hear what they like, what they don't like, what are the things that that they're reading right now, what are the shows that they're watching. And it's fun. It keeps you up to date with everything too. I always try to make a point of staying up to date with whatever's going on, just because I think it's very important for us as artists to always know what's going on, what's the pulse at the moment. Pay attention to it. You have to be aware of things. And if you're not really doing your job. You should always know what's going on. I think it can only help you as an artist. Not saying to change anything up that you're doing, but just be aware of what's happening. And always make sure that you're keeping your work up to date. Don't be afraid to try different things. So yeah, being around the students is really incredible. I love talking with them, and trying to see how I can get them going. And I know that they get me going too. So it's great.
It's good because they can show you all the style, right? They share the styles.
There's tons of different styles. That's another big thing. People are always very concerned. Oh, well, I like to draw in this style, or I like to draw in this way, or whatever way that they want to do it. Style. I say style isn't an excuse for bad storytelling, though. So you have to know how to tell a story with your artwork. And if you don't know how to do that, you're going to run into problems no matter what style you draw in. So that's what we do really well at the Q*bert School, is we teach you how to tell a story with your art, narrative art. And that's what we do, I think, better than anybody.
Anthony, and how was taking care of the Q*bert School? How do you get to the point that you got you take over the president title of the Q*bert School?
Well, just kind of I've always been interested in the school. Like I said to you before, I love the school. It's very, very important to me, and I always want to ensure that it continues going on. And I want to always make it bigger and better. And so when I heard that there was an opportunity to do that, I looked into it right away. And it all worked out. We went through all the regular motions that you would go through for something like that. And it's been an incredible experience. And we've done some really incredible things at the school too. What we've done is we've updated all the technology at the school. Every single room has a Cintiq laptop, flat screen instructional TVs put in there. They're not used just to watch TV. We try to make sure that there's a bunch of different actual reasons for them to be there. We have light boards, scanners, copiers, and that's in all the classrooms. We updated all of the lights throughout the building, updated the actual look of the interior of the building. My goodness, changed the whole art store. We added Dewey's Comic City into the art store area as well. So now you can actually go into a comic shop in the building. You can go into the art supply store as well. We brought in some new instructors. There's tons of different things that we've done. And on top of that, we've also started online studies programs. We were approved by the Department of Education to offer a full-time program online as well. We have workshops that we do now. We do summer intensives. We actually went all the way down to Florida, not as far as Argentina, but we did go to Florida, and that's a bit of a flight from New Jersey. So we went down there. We taught down there for the summer. So we actually did one in New Jersey and Florida. So we're constantly looking for new and exciting ways to help grow the school, get it out there so that more people can be involved and learn about this. The more people that know about comics and how to make them, I think it just makes the whole field that much richer. And if that's what we can do to help grow this, then that's what we should be doing, and that's what we are doing.
Anthony, I have a question.
Sorry, Mario,
sorry. Yeah.
These two photos.
Yes.
One is how is today, and the other one is how it used to be, the school.
There's not much of a difference here. The one on my left viewing it with the brown doors is a slightly older photo. The one on the right with the red doors is the more recent one.
Go ahead, Mario.
Okay, thank you. Anthony, I want to ask you a question because you have this school, and in every school there are a library.
Yes.
So in the library, what if you come to the school, you're gonna find a lot of art books, a lot of things from doing techniques of drawing, and also you can find comic books to do something.
There are,
because it's a real doubt I have. So if you have there any comic book.
Our library is predominantly graphic novels, comics, instructional books, history books. There's a lot of different things, reference books. We also have a digital catalog of different how to draw books as well. There's scanners, computers. It's also like a media center is what we like to refer to it as, light boards as well. And so this way everyone has access to it. So this way you can go in there and pull reference. Hello.
So she's my daughter.
That's okay.
She also is a comic book fan. She's in love with Teen Titans Go and also DC Superhero Girls. So she's really my daughter.
she's got good taste. I love Teen Titans Go as well, and my daughter loves that, and so does my son. We love watching that show. We get a big kick out of it. So we love the episodes where they where they go into like this weird world and there's a dragon and whatnot. I don't know if you've ever seen those episodes, but those are hilarious, and they're wonderful. And it's got one of the best songs I think I've ever heard.
The cyborg song.
The cyborg song.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
It's amazing episode.
The movie also. It's amazing.
The movie's hilarious.
With the challengers of the unknown there.
They have everybody in it.
The movie. It's amazing.
To tie it all together, they also got Nicolas Cage to voice Superman for the movie.
Yeah, of course.
A hit. That was a hit. It was a hit. Right, a hit. And also Stan Lee.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You get a cameo from Stan Lee also.
So very, very cool stuff.
Also, I would like to show some of the things that you do on the Cuba school.
Sure.
And
we have our open house. Yep, that's coming up on October 22nd. We do 2 open houses a year. We do one in the fall and we also do one in the spring. So like I said, our open house for the fall, if anyone that watches this is around on October 22nd and is in New Jersey, feel free to come on by. We usually have a bunch of our instructors there. They're doing demos. They're teaching different things. You're able to take a tour, learn about the school. It's a really incredible thing that we do. Then in July, during the summer, we usually run a portfolio day. And that's just another great day for you to come on in and maybe learn a little bit more, get a critique on your work, maybe see what we have to offer you as well. So those are nice things that we like to run throughout the year.
Is this just for curious students or anyone can go?
This is open to anyone that has interest in attending the school at some point. It doesn't mean that you have to attend the school, but it's a great way for people that are in high school, graduates of high school, to come by and get information about the school and see if it's the right place for you to come to. We were very upfront with giving you the information that you need about the school. So when you come by, you can speak with financial aid, you can speak with myself, you can talk with Jackie's the vice president, you can talk with Carol Thomas, who's the director of the school, and you can get that information that you need to see if this is the right decision for you.
Wow.
Whoa.
it's a good tour to start.
It's a really
no,
it's a real.
I would go just to
me too.
your school because it's
of course.
It's like going for to a museum.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
History.
And there's so much stuff that we have on display at the school too. I mean, there's tons of original artwork on all of the walls. We have the original Oxbury camera that was used by Fleischer Studios, and that's on display. I mean, there's a lot of really great things. So even, there's other stuff that we do over the course of the year. During COVID, we actually had to stop, but we're looking to bring it back this year now as well, is we do a faculty and alumni art show. And then we put everything on display so you can come by and actually see it. We put up walls in our orientation room, and it's a wonderful exhibit for you to come by and enjoy a lot of the artwork. We've had stuff up from, all of the faculty. We've had Lee Weeks. We've had Andy Kubert artwork. You name it, we've had it on display. Of course, Joe Kubert, Erwin Hasen. I mean, all these wonderful people. And it's really, really incredible. So definitely keep an eye out for that as well.
You spoke about your pass on through DC, and later you went when I think it was when they moved to Burbank. You changed from editorial and you went to Dynamite.
Yes.
And in Dynamite, here in the chat, lots of people met your art. I gonna highlight some commentaries. Julian says that he met your art on Red Sonja and Savage Tales.
Sure. I love working on Red Sonja. That was a lot of fun.
Dr. Sid says he loved your Green Hornet work.
Green Hornet was a lot of fun. I actually had a really good time doing Green Hornet. It's just an interesting character. I feel like doesn't get enough love, to be quite honest, but I loved working on it. And we were able to do some really cool stuff. We introduced super-powered villains for Green Hornet to fight. It was a little bit more, really the story, if you really want to kind of think about it, is about an alien baby that crash lands on Earth. Wink. And Green Hornet's, one of his reporters goes missing, and he winds up starting to investigate it, and he finds this baby, and he has to protect it from these folks that are trying to get it. And then the baby's mom winds up waking up in a stasis sort of thing and comes to Earth to get her baby back, and she's not very happy about what's happened. So it makes for a really cool and exciting story, and I would recommend picking it up.
Another comment says, hi Anthony, I like your work in not so mainstream characters like Green Hornet or even Ghostbusters. Do you prefer that or another character like Batman?
That's a really good question. I mean, I think every story that you work on is really special in that moment. It also is kind of where you're at in your life and what you're going through and how, you can kind of figure out everything that's going on. So each one of them is really special. And I enjoy working on all of them. I've had the great luxury of being able to really kind of treat these things in the way that I want to do it. For example, when I did the Ghostbusters, I was able to draw them in the style that I draw in, so that was really incredible. Working on Green Hornet, I had tons of freedom, to really kind of do the book in the way that I wanted to do it or make subtle changes here and there. And even with Batman right now, I mean, the Batman book that I'm working on is really incredible because I've had so much freedom, and the creative team that I'm working with is just so top notch, from editorial with Andrew Marino and Katie Kubert to being able to work with Jay Bone, who's inking the pages. And I've known Jay now. I've worked with him since almost 2015. So it's been a long time that we've been working together. And then to have Dave Stewart on colors. I mean, it's just like, oh my goodness. And Dennis McNicholas is writing it. And Dennis, was one of the head writers for Saturday Night Live, and he wrote the Batman audio adventure show for HBO. And it all started off with me being like, hey, well, with them asking for me to do the designs for that, figure out how to design all the characters. So I was able to come up with all the designs for all the characters and the way that I wanted them to look. And that was incredible. And so now we've been working on the series. It's a 7-issue series. First issue comes out September 27th in the States. I'm not sure when it comes out in Argentina, but when it does, I hope that you do pick it up. But in the States, it comes out September 27th. And it's a really good book. It's a really good story. I'm having a great time working on it, and I think people are really going to enjoy it.
Yeah, the style, it reminds a lot to the Batman Adventures, and that it's something that people from at least people from Argentina really love that show, and most people think that it's the best representation of Batman.
Oh,
yeah, we have a very great fandom of that show from '66 show, and still now it's very big fun, because if you come to Argentina and you say Batman, they focus on that period, because it was very, very, very popular. And then Michael Keaton. But but if you say Batman here, that show, and it's amazing.
Dennis the writer, he was I don't want to just call him Dennis the writer. It's not fair. Dennis is really great to work with, because he knows exactly what he wants in the story too, and he's able to pull from all of these wonderful periods of the character's history, and he writes such a great story, and he really has an idea of what he likes about each character, and it's true to who the characters are, and I'm just trying to make it be what it should be, you know what I mean? And so that one right there, let's see what we got over there. So that's the Batman the Audio Adventures one-shot special that is from October, I believe, of last year. That's the Francis Manapul cover, and that blew my mind, because it's based on the designs that I did. I was like, holy moly! I was like, they got this incredible artist,
and you also play with the nostalgia. So as the early shows on Superman in the radio, that like Bud Collyer. So it's that kind of style that they pick on those pages, in that page, of course.
Yeah, and then the cover on the far right is the one by myself, and that's actually one of the variants for the upcoming issue number 1. So make sure you request that one.
It's
please
something that I put here. It was your designs, because something that was awesome. I can think something more awesome that might have blown your mind. It's you do the designs for the series.
This was really cool, but like I was saying, I tried to pull from all these different elements. I mean, you think about it, Batman's been around since 1939. There's a lot to pull from, and for example, with Batman, this was actually, I think, the 3rd or the 4th version of Batman that we wound up going with. I had originally wanted him to have blue in the costume, and he was going to have the yellow oval around his chest, around the bat symbol. But we wound up changing it up a little bit, and we went with more of the darker uniform or costume for him. Robin, I really wanted to have this sort of young. He's not a boy, but he's not yet fully like a teenager yet. But he's right at that point where he's coming into his own. And talking with J-Bone, and Jay's such a great person to talk with about artwork too. He's absolutely brilliant artist. He was always saying, Robin, when he worked with Darwin Cook, Darwin and he had some conversations about things, and he was always saying that in his eyes, Robin should always be moving around, should always be jumping. And I love that. I thought that was brilliant. And so one of the key things that I try to do with the character in the books is that he is a kid. Robin's a kid, so I try to keep that sort of, he should always be jumping around. He should always be having fun, even in the biggest portions of where he's in real danger. Robin's having a great time. He doesn't quite understand the seriousness of what he's in. But one of the things I really like that I've added in, and you'll see in issue 1, is that Robin is always eating something. I don't know if you remember what it was like being a kid, but we all loved eating food. Heck, I still love eating food. So I always like to think that Robin's got like a candy bar in the back of his belt or something like that, and he's trying to sneak in a bite here or there. And yeah, coming up with the designs for these characters, and like I said, it's not just me. It's also J-Bone and Dave Stewart and Dennis giving us the wonderful insight into these characters and how they act and how they think, and just it's the whole team working on this. So I can't claim complete ownership over the designs, but I had a really good time working on these.
Yeah, that Batman is amazing. It's amazing.
What Batman reminds me? The one drawn by Jorge Fornes.
Yes, of course, the same.
It's like the same essence. It's powerful. It's
and Mazzucchelli's too.
Yeah,
Mazzucchelli's, of course.
Yeah,
of course.
I tried to think of. I love short-eared Batmans. I'm not. I don't like. Too. I just like them down a little bit more. I like a long-eared Batman as well, but I just felt like I think of his cowl as almost like a helmet as well. So I just thought it worked. It made more sense in that way.
And Robin, it looks more like Jason Todd than Dick Grayson.
I was definitely thinking Dick Grayson, but I appreciate, I love hearing the sort of, I was thinking that you see it more as Jason. It possibly could be subconsciously.
Because of the hairstyle,
Yeah, I was going for,
and also the mask, with
the mask, everybody draws that thing a little bit different. For me, I've always just viewed it as a big old thing that's on his face. But he's just a fun character to draw. He's the most fun character to draw in the book. I love drawing Robin.
And I would
love to do a Teen Titans book or just a story about Robin. I would have a great time.
Well, there's always the flashback sequence,
The flashback issue.
The Philly issue with the flashback sequence.
Yeah. And Commissioner Gordon, it's a mix, right?
Gordon's great. Gordon's kind of a combination of, he's been a cop for a while. He's a seasoned guy at this point. So I wanted him to be thick. He's not, this isn't his first day on the job. And, he's been there. He's seen things, he's dealing with it. And there's also little elements, like if you zoomed in on his face, his mustache is really it's a bat symbol. So I don't know if you can do that. But
I'm gonna try it.
Yeah, I'm gonna try it too.
So if you get a chance, take a peek. Yeah, see, it's a bat symbol.
It's a bat symbol.
It's a bat symbol.
It dips down in the middle.
Yeah.
So I tried to make it into a bat symbol. It's one of those things where it's just like subliminally, people might not recognize it right off the bat, but if you look, throughout the story, Commissioner Gordon's mustache is a bat symbol because he's one of the good guys.
So I really love these things. It's so cool to have these Easter eggs, these particular things that you tell us, and
I love the details, the pens, the things. Oh my god! My god!
That Riddler is hilarious to me.
Yeah,
that was so funny. Riddler was really cool. I had a good time. Alfred is just great. Alfred's just, I saw an image of a butler. I Google image searched a butler. That's what I typed in. And I love the pose that I saw. And I was like, all right, let's play with that. And that's how I came up with Alfred, referencing his outfit. But the Joker, I loved working on the Joker. Joker was a lot of fun. I used to, if you watch those old Super Friends cartoons or anything like that, he had these really creepy looking like shoulder pads that came up like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And now I don't quite understand why it was done or what the thought process was behind it. But I was like, well, how can I incorporate that into this character? Can I do something with it? And I love the angles on him. And so
also the thin legs as Jose Garcia Lopez.
Well, for me, thinking about the Joker, so when I went through the thought process of it, I thought he should be incredibly tall. Like the Joker is scary tall. In my eyes, Joker's taller than Batman. Like he is very, very scary tall. And I always felt like he should move like on very hard sort of angles. So with the way that I kind of envisioned it, or it came to me in my head, was if this kid was walking and he heard something or he saw something that would entice him to come down an alleyway, and it kind of got pulled into like this dark section of shadow, right? And then all of a sudden you just see like this big smile form in the dark, but it's like really hot. And then this little kid is just like looking up, but then all of a sudden this 7 foot tall, like on a hinge, his whole upper body just kind of like leans straight down, like right at this kid's face. So the whole thing kind of just started forming, and I wanted to have like some sort of like a scary sort of monster quality to him. So that's why he's that way. That's why his legs are so long. I wanted it to be something that felt off about it, so this way it wouldn't be right. It shouldn't. He's not right. He's the complete opposite, and he's scary. The Joker is terrifying. He's not. It's not somebody you should want to spend time with. The Joker is a terrifying individual.
We will
the
see.
Riddler is Gorshin.
We will. The Riddler is Frank Gorshin.
The Riddler, he's an interesting character to do. I thought of, for him, I think the classic Adam West version is burned into my mind of what it should be. But I also wanted to give him a very distinct head shape. And we didn't wind up using that version. We wound up putting him, he actually wears a suit. He's more of like a gangster suit in the series. But I think they might have used this one for the audio adventures on HBO Max. They might have put him up in this one.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna hear more character sheets, and
Catwoman was wonderful. The fun part with Catwoman here is there was different sketches that we went with, and Dennis really wanted her to be in that classic sort of costume, and I said, all right, that's cool. But there was other versions where I was trying to give Catwoman like a cat symbol of some kind. I wanted it to be on the costume. And so I found a way just to incorporate it into her belt buckle. So it's it's not the most inventive symbol, but it's just something very simple to kind of hammer home that she's got the cat symbol on her belt. Two-Face, I thought of, it's kind of silly, but I thought of the Max Schreck character from Batman Returns.
Christopher Walken.
Yeah, so like it has more of a Christopher Walken kind of feel is what I was trying to go for. I wanted him to be a little longer in the face as well, in spots, and he was a lot of fun to play with. And then Penguin, I got to give a lot of the credit on this one to Jay. Jay really, he was sending. We would do sketches and send them back and forth, and he did one where it was just so spot on. So he gets all the credit for the Penguin.
It's like it's a mix of like superpowers and another more close version. So it's amazing. The Penguin, I love it.
Oh, that one was a lot of fun.
I really love it.
I'm really looking forward to read this.
Yeah, me too.
We got some preview pages here.
Ooh,
so those pages that you've got right there, those are actually from the one shot that came out in October. So I would recommend go pick those up. That's a really wonderful book. It's an anthology book, and it has so many incredible creators involved in it. Highly recommend picking that up. And I had just so much fun working on that. We had a really good time. And then the stuff that you have on the side over there are some sketches that I did for New York Comic Con last year. And those are the actually you could see in that penciled version of Batman standing up, you could see the yellow oval on his chest still. That was actually that one.
Let me see if
I hope to see the world's finest, please.
Oh yeah, but trust me, if I get a chance to do anything with Superman, I'll be screaming from the rooftop.
Oh
yeah, there you go. Yeah, you can see it.
Yeah,
the symbol is like Dark Knight.
Actually, that's actually the Adam West Batman symbol was what I was trying to throw in there, because I love the way that bat symbol looks. It's not the typical sort of overly rounded one. It's a little bit, it's just subtle. And I actually, now that you say that, I think Frank and Klaus, when they were doing the Dark Knight Returns, they actually did put that on him for a little while in that before he goes to the big blocky bat that everybody always thinks of.
Yeah.
And as Mario mentioned, when are you gonna see
please.
Anthony
Superman.
Marquez
Superman?
Oh, I sure
hope Superman.
I sure hope I hope sooner rather than later. You know, it's funny, the one on the left with him flying above the planet was the most recent version. Actually, this is really fun that you have these up, because it kind of shows the one on the far right is old. That's a really old one.
Yeah.
You know, I was
but
still
it's awesome.
Oh yeah, I appreciate it.
And also in the middle, Anthony, I love, because it's the Superman, the flashers, when he appears and then transforms. So doing this, it's amazing.
That one's, it's funny. Like you can see, it's like, that's when the one on the far right is when I really kind of started transitioning into this style. Still trying to figure it out. The one in the middle was just kind of figuring it all out and putting it together for Superman on how I want to approach it. And the one on the left is current of that. That's how I do it now. And, you know, this is actually a fun little exercise for me to take a peek at. Like the one on the far right is very cringy for me. Like it's hard for me to look at that one. I'm blocking it right now. But the one in the middle, I'm still like, all right, there's things that I like there, but there's other elements of it that are really throwing me off. But the one on the left is the one that I love the most. And
it's good.
I really hope that I get an opportunity to play with Superman at some point, because I would have the best time ever working on that character.
You know, your Superman style always remind me to Darwin's Cook Superman.
Yes, of course,
and
I love it.
That's something that always got into me, because I really love his artwork, and when I watch your artwork, it always remind me that Superman with that smile, that thing with the eyes closed.
Well, Superman, like people ask me about that. They're like, "Why do you draw him with his eyes closed all the time?" I'm like, his eyes aren't closed. He's squinting. You know, he's just a squinty guy, and I don't know. It just looks right. You know, I love it. I mean, there's definitely times where I draw a wide-eyed Superman, but you know, it's like Clint Eastwood. You know, his eyes are always kind of there, you know.
Yes.
But he's a wonderful character. I think he's very inspiring, and I think he's harder to draw than Batman. Batman, you can hide a lot of things in shadow and kind of get away with it. Superman, he has to look a certain way all the time, every single time that you see him. And he has to be charming and inspiring and handsome. And, he has to be perfect every time. But I think I would just have the best time doing it. So, yeah, right to DC. Tell them to make it happen.
Well, who knows? Maybe if the miniseries is well received, maybe we can have a Superman audio adventure show.
Audio adventures.
That would be pretty incredible, right?
Yeah, it would be awesome. It would be awesome. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yes.
And Anthony, ending the interview, what I really love about your persona, about your career, about how kind you are with people, and how you love comics is that you touched comics in all the aspects.
Yeah.
In fact, you have a comic book store.
Yeah, I have a comic book shop. We have an art store as well that specializes in comic book art supplies as well. And I mean, it's really pretty incredible. So I mean, if you ever want to check out Dewey's, you can. If you visit the school, it's right there at the school, so you can come on in. It's open to the public. The art stores as well. You can go to deweyscomiccity.com. You can reach out to us on there. We have tons of back issues, all key books. We've had everything that you could think of. We've had Amazing Fantasy, first appearance of Spider-Man all the way through. We've had everything like that. The art store, kubertartstore.com. You can visit that. You can order all of your supplies. You can order official Kubert School merchandise like sweatshirts, pants, T-shirts, anything that you could think of, coffee cups. But we've also got some of the best art supplies that you can get anywhere. You need a certain kind of brush, you need pencils, certain leads, you need paper, different types of Bristol, anything that you need, we have it all right there. So you can definitely check it all out and order it right online, and we'll ship it anywhere in the world.
And during the pandemics, was it hard to endure the comic book shop?
What was really great was everybody really rallied around everyone, and we found ways to make everything work, and I think in general for everybody everywhere it was scary, and you just gotta bunker down and see what works, but you had to be able to pivot, and come up with different ways to engage people and keep things going. And so that's what we did. And that's why, I'm really proud of all of the work that everyone's done, not only at Dewey's or the art store, but, especially at the school, the staff, the faculty, the students, everybody involved did such a wonderful job of really being able to pivot in a moment's notice and ensure that the quality was still there, that everybody was still learning, that we were able to keep moving forward. And out of that, we've been able to create some really wonderful programs and to keep it going. So I'm really proud of everybody and the incredible work that they did during the whole pandemic.
And we got a final question here from Arte Manga Mania. He's from Peru. He's from Peru.
Cool.
He's asking you which comic book did you like to draw most?
Right now, it's definitely Batman. I'm having a great time doing it. But if it's what's my favorite character to draw, then it is Superman. Superman is by far my favorite character to draw. It's my favorite character from when I was a kid, growing all the way up until now. Batman's a very, very close second, but I love drawing Superman. I love drawing Batman. And right now, working on Batman is an absolute dream come true as well.
It's something that brings me attention that you didn't mention none of Marvel's characters. For example, Spider-Man. Why?
Yeah.
Don't you like Spider-Man?
I do like Spider-Man. Spider-Man's, it was so funny. We just got kind of caught up in talking about all the DC characters. I like Spider-Man. I think he's a great character. I don't know if I would do a great job on Spider-Man. I'm just being honest. I would love to give it a try. I just don't think that I'm the right guy for Spidey. I think if you put me on something like, I think I could do an interesting take on the Hulk. I think I could do something. I would love to do Captain America. I would like to do Thor. I would love to do a Thor book. I think that could be a lot of fun. But I mean, like, I grew up with DC books. So, I mean, right off the bat, I'm automatically like, I'd love to do Wonder Woman. Like I would love to do something with that. I think that would be really great. I'd have a great time with that character. I love all your big guys, but then I also love like the Demon. I love the Creeper. I love all those kind of characters as well. So it would be
blue and gold. I imagine that you would love to draw them.
Yeah, I mean, look, honestly, if the story's good and it makes sense, I would love to I'll draw anything. I just want to make sure that I know that I feel like it could be the right fit, that it makes sense. And then I'll do my best that I possibly can to make sure that it looks great, And
Anthony, which team do you like to work with? Would you like to work with?
What do you mean? A team book?
I don't know, Justice League International, I don't know, Avengers.
There's so many versions of each team. I think
JSA, maybe.
JSA could be cool. That would be a lot of fun. Yeah, I mean, really, all the team books are interesting to me. But the interesting
Teen Titans.
Teen Titans would be great. Honestly, I think Teen Titans would be the most fun book. Yeah, I mean, if you told me that, you're going into it, and you're gonna have Robin and Beast Boy and Cyborg and Raven and Starfire, I think that's a definite yes.
and
yeah,
a question as a Titan fan, I am Aqualad or Speedy?
Ooh, maybe they're like on vacation during the story.
Anthony, you're a Flash fan?
I like the Flash. It's funny. People always ask me a lot. They're like, "Oh, so are you like just a huge comic book fan?" And I love comics. I wouldn't say that I'm a huge I don't read everything. I am a comic fan, but I don't read everything. So I can't say that I'm a huge fan. I don't think that that's fair to the huge fans that are out there that really read everything and they're really up to date. I like the Flash. I think the Flash is great. Wally West, Barry Allen, thing. There's positives to both versions of the characters. I think the Flash has a great costume. I love the Green Lanterns that are out there. I think that could be a really fun character to play around with as well. Like I was saying, you get those Justice League characters. It's nice when they're all together as a team, but I think each one of them is just so unique and special on their own that, in my eyes, if the Justice League is brought together, it better be for a major event. Like it's not, if the Justice League is together, everything has gone wrong. You know what I mean? Like it's not just like, oh, hey guys, let's get together on the weekend and hang out and take care of a few little things. No. Everything has gone wrong. They've failed individually as a hero up against whatever it is that they're trying to fight. And they've all got to these are the best superheroes that the entire planet has to offer, to defend not just the planet, but the universe. Trust me, if they're fighting, it's something big. So it would have to be a really epic, big story, in my eyes, for it to make sense for all those characters to even get together.
Now that you mentioned that, it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. I never thought about it, but you're right.
Yeah, you're right.
You're right.
You're right.
And and to close the interview with something that we do every time with every guest.
All right,
We're gonna
let's
show
do it.
you something. We're gonna tell you a funny story that happened here in Argentina with a character. Go ahead, Mario, and I'm gonna look for the
Okay. I mentioned you about the Flash.
Yes.
Well, here in Argentina we have the editorial called Perfil that they published everything about DC Comics. So they published after Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Mm-hmm.
So they published Batman, Superman, Man of Steel, of course, and they have a problem with the Flash. Wally West story, the Mike Baron thing, the run that run.
Okay.
So they have a problem because here in Argentina, we got a problem with the title, with the names, properties, or whatever. So they couldn't publish as The Flash, the title, because here in Argentina it was a gossip magazine called Flash.
Okay.
So they had to change the name of the character.
What did we get?
Look at the name of the character.
Flush Man? What? Why? Flush Man? Why didn't they just call? Oh, I kind of like that. Flush Man.
Flash Man.
He can flush the toilet faster than any man on the planet. He can outrace these jets. He's rushing to get to the toilet.
To the toilet, of course.
and tell the other part of the story.
And the other thing, Anthony, that we told the story to Jeremy Adams, the actual the actual writer of The Flash.
Yeah.
And he told us in another interview that he loved to put the story about Flushman. So I said, okay. It was, no, we're going to put it, okay. In issue 781, what happened, Kyle?
Issue?
This is the issue.
Okay.
Here. Is this kid?
Is this kid say something?
Hola, Flush Man. That's
and you know what he tells Wally tells him, what's the deal with Flashman? He said,
yeah,
and he says, like, it's a whole thing, I'll tell you about it later.
If I can sneak that into the background, like if it's on a newspaper or like a header of something going on in the background, I will make sure that I get who is the Flush Man.
Who's the Flush Man?
Who is the Flush Man?
Who's the Flush Man?
I love that.
My daughter brought me the issue. So
and also he was kind enough to include our names in the
That's
in the
really
book.
Cool. I love stuff
was
like that.
Yeah,
I try to sneak in like whenever I do work, I have two little kids. I have a daughter and a son, and I try to sneak in either their names or their birthdays on pages a lot of times, and I put my wife's and my birthday on there too. Or what I do is I also have the kids help me work on the pages sometimes. So I'll have my daughter and my son, they'll come over and I have them fill in the areas with black or, just to get them involved in it. And, I think it's so important to get kids drawing and just producing artwork and just playing with their imagination a little bit. So I'm a big, I love to push that and get them playing around. So any little kids out there, any parents have little kids, let your kids draw. Let them have some fun, okay?
Yeah.
What a nice advice, Anthony. I really like it.
Yeah.
I really like it.
So,
And we're gonna end the interview giving you a big thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
It was a wonderful time we spent with you. Speaking about we most love comics, you know.
Hey, it was really appreciated. I had a great time talking with you. It's always great seeing you and getting a chance to chat a little bit. Mario, it was wonderful getting to see you and meet you. And I hope your daughter had a good time listening in too. And it was really a lot of fun. And again, guys, make sure if you can, head out to your local comic shop September 27th, pick up Batman The Audio Adventures #1. Tell your comic shop owner, put you down for the whole series. It's 7 issues. I promise you're going to love it. It's a great book. The artwork's going to be incredible. Everyone's doing their absolute best to make this story special. I promise that you're going to love it.
We're going to order. Yeah, of course.
We're gonna order.
We're going to order that.
Awesome.
Please stay for a while, Anthony, while we say goodbye.
Sure.
In Spanish. Gente, muchísimas gracias por estar acá, por apoyar este contenido. Realmente es un lujo tener a Anthony Marquez. Y acá te agradezco, Mario, como siempre, por estar ahí,
Nada que
estar
agradecer.
apoyando este contenido. Y nos estamos viendo en el próximo programa, seguramente en el próximo Protagonistas del cómic. Muchísimas gracias. Y nos estamos viendo, gente. Adiós.
Nos vemos. Gracias.